I'm Aaron Matus here with D1 Ticker and a D1 Extra. Today joined by WDRB's Eric Crawford, which feels strangely familiar for some reason.
It's like it's as if you've been here before.
I feel like we've done this before, Eric. Thanks for joining us today. And I did want to ask right off the bat, what has these last 24, 48 hours been like, going back to last Friday, really, covering the Louisville beat? Because there's been rumors flying all over the place, and now we finally have some closure, which I don't think anyone saw coming.
Yeah, it has not stopped. It really led up in the whole week leading up to the kind of the Friday events that we saw. Just a huge rumor mill, a ton of speculation about the future of Louisville football coach Scott Satterfield. We kind of resolved that. I spoke to Vince Tyra. He kind of gave his vote of confidence, and Satterfield will be back and excited about the future of the program. And about an hour and a half later, news broke that he was a surprise candidate at Florida State. And by the end of the weekend, he was the leading candidate, in fact, expected to become athletic director. He's poised to take that job, and we've kind of been waiting, kind of like you're at the top of the hill on the roller coaster after that slow climb up. And then all of a sudden, the night that that we're just waiting for it, we hear, Neely Bendapudi's going to Penn State in the morning. And by noon the next day, she's already had a press conference at Penn State. Tyra is out of the running at Florida State. Either he took himself out or they just said, no thanks, too much craziness. And wow, I mean, his letter of resignation that he sent the day prior had been received and accepted by Louisville. So the president's gone, the athletic director's gone, and I don't think all this is over.
I have to admit that I even forgot this started with the whole Scott Satterfield drama to begin with. So much.
Who is he?
Since all that crazy, the amount of news that's come out. You mentioned it. Athletic director and president out, seemingly, really in the same day. Where does that leave Louisville?
It is a leadership vacuum. It would be at any school, but when you have a Power 5 athletics program, obviously that's going to be a huge deal when you lose your athletic director. That in itself is. And then, you put on top of it a president who would be the person, obviously, to lead that search and make that call on who the next athletic director is going to be. She's gone. She will be gone by the end of the year. Tyra is gone right now, effective immediately. And this is not just an ordinary school. It's a school, as you know, Aaron, that's had a lot of turmoil in its past. And it's coming out of one house cleaning where they got rid of their basketball coach. They got rid of their athletic director, got rid of their president. And now they're getting rid of a new president or having one leave and losing an athletic director. It's really going to be a fascinating study. And where does the leadership come from moving forward?
And what do you expect perhaps the timeline to look like? Because, are we looking at a long-term interim athletic director while they conduct this president search? How do they navigate?
I think we'll see an interim athletic director. And if anybody over there values stability of any kind, they'll just elevate the top deputy to Vince Tyra. Josh Hurd, who's been there for 10 years, has been in athletics administration for a dozen years or more. They'll just move him into the spot. The plan was, before we knew about what was going on with the president, that he would take the athletic director role once Vince left for Florida State, and he would keep it till the end of this athletic season. And during that time, they get a search firm, put together a national search, and come up with somebody who'd be in place probably by the beginning of the next athletic season. But there are more moving parts at Louisville, obviously, than just the athletic director. Pending NCAA investigation, a new NCAA investigation involves a couple of minor infractions by Chris Mack, but infractions that could, in fact, be fireable offenses if he's found guilty. So still a lot of drama to go on. And probably that was no small part in Tyra thinking about moving on to start with.
What do you think would be the smart move for Louisville? What does their next athletic director need to do? And do you have a recommendation?
Well, I think that the big thing facing the next athletic director is to, continue to try and steer this program away from the drama. Stability is currency right now for Louisville, and they don't have a lot of it, and they need to find some. So Louisville needs somebody who's able to bring a steady hand to this, who's not going to make a lot of sudden moves with the department, who's not going to do a lot of surprising things. Those can be effective in leadership, but in Louisville's situation right now, they've had enough surprises. They've had enough, bombshells. They just need somebody who's going to take over, kind of get everybody to take a breath, really do a good job of keeping the good coaches they have in place. Louisville's got a number 1 ranked volleyball team that's undefeated and playing in the NCAA tournament now. They've got a really good women's basketball team. They're good in a lot of sports. They're doing a lot of things right, but whoever comes in is going to have to just kind of lean on the facilities and the people that he has, the resources that he has, or she, as the case may be for the next athletic director, and try to steer it to a place where they're not making these off the field headlines just every month, because it has been something just about every month, even since you get rid of Tom Jurich and Rick Pitino and that whole cast.
Yeah, you said someone that can steer clear of drama. And I think outsiders on the outside of Louisville looking in would ask, is that possible right now? Because it does seem to be just a constant show there in terms of something you weren't expecting happening, or you often hear people on the outside saying, well, of course it was Louisville that this happened to.
Yeah, there's going to be some built in, because the NCAA is going to come back with some sanctions. While Neely Bendapudi was perceived as one of these, somebody who was maybe more inclined to dismiss Chris Mack if she had reason to under some of these NCAA sanctions. The board is not altogether a whole lot different. So we'll have to watch and kind of see what happens with that. My view is that if you're at UofL, you don't want a new athletic director to have to be around for any of that. You just want to get that stuff taken care of, take whatever medicine you're going to have to take, and then hire somebody and let them come in and kind of start new. You're still going to have some lingering effects of all that, but you shouldn't have anything else hanging over your head if you can avoid it. So I don't know if that can be managed, and I don't know who the person is. We've heard a couple of names around here. Devon Thomas is at the University of Washington as administrator right now. He was a football player here. He's a guy that's been looked at. You can bet that they're going to take a look at a lot of diversity among candidates, because that's been an issue with former basketball players here at Louisville, wanting more representation in leadership in the athletics department. So whoever it is, though, is going to have obviously a major challenge.
There's only so many chairs to be filled by athletic directors. So someone is going to want the job. Someone's going to take it. There's no doubt about that. My question to you is, how difficult is this job right now? And is that too hard to answer until we figure out what's going to happen with some of these NCAA sanctions?
Well, the sanctions are the first priority, and they're going to happen no matter who's in. They're going to come. There's going to be a penalty. You're not going to get off without having to do something, probably a basketball postseason ban. Somebody's going to have to make a call on Chris Mack, whether he was negligent to the point that he should be terminated for the level 2 violations that they're accused of, or whether you just move on. You don't want more instability. You just keep your coach. You've already punished him. There's no need to kind of insert more turmoil. So that's one tough thing. The other tough question is football. They're 6-6 this year. They're going to their second bowl game in 3 years after a train wreck of a year where Bobby Petrino just basically crashed the program into the mountain. But the fan base is dissatisfied. They're not motivated. Attendance is down. Attendance is down in men's basketball too. He's going to get another year. They're not going to fire Scott Satterfield now. That was part of the whole thing that brought up the original controversy. But if Satterfield doesn't have a really good year next year, the new athletic director is going to have a tough call to make with him.
The final thing that I wanted to ask is just give us a feel for the beat there right now, because I think you tweeted something earlier that said, if you're just checking in with Louisville athletics and it looks like complete chaos, it is, or something along those lines. So give us an inkling into what you guys have been dealing with the last couple of weeks, or maybe I should say the last decade.
We've seen everything. We've seen coaches interview for jobs that weren't open. We've seen, stripper scandals break in the middle of nowhere, prostitutes for recruits. We've seen the FBI show up on campus and start going through stuff. We've seen presidents fired, athletic directors gone. We've seen lawsuits back and forth. But again, last night at 11:30 or later, when Twitter starts to fire up with hey, Neely Bendapudi, Louisville's president, may be taking the job tomorrow at Penn State, it sounds like a joke. And in fact, that was my first reaction. It sounded like a joke. The columnist I work with here, Rick Bozich, he was just breaking out laughing every 10 minutes for no apparent reason. I'm not sure. I wonder if he's cracking up. But it's just that bizarre right now what we're going through. And I've seen it with athletic directors and coaches, and I've seen this with university presidents, but I've never seen two stories like this Tyra story and the Neely Bendapudi story happen concurrently and have all of it hit the fan on virtually the same day. That's a new one. So congrats, Louisville. Yeah, you got a new one in there on me.
Well, unfortunately for you guys, a lot of questions were answered, but that left us with many more questions. So we will be following along closely as Louisville now searches for a new president and a new athletic director. Best of luck with your coverage, Eric, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Aaron. Good to see you.
Good seeing you.